At the end of the day, there's always homework to do. There's always a little more work to do. At the end of the day, when you're alone, if you're ever alone, you're going to speak to yourself. But not with your tongue. You are going to speak to yourself. Throughout your day, you did a lot that you were conscious of and that you were unconscious of. Among the things that you did, there were some injustices that you did to yourself and to others. And to circumstances, you were unjust. You will be reminded of it every time you do it. You're going to hear it. I really spoke to that guy at the counter the wrong way, you know? He was new. He was kind of slow to count out my money at the register, but I was really rude to him. You know? It's going to revisit you that you did that. It's going to revisit you that you walked right past that old lady at the door, stepped in front of her. Instead of opening the door for her, you just stepped in front, walked right in, you know? It's going to revisit you, you know? The way you talk to people, the way you deal with people. Living in the moment, not thinking about the end. Right now, my behavior is justified, so I'm going to do this. Right now, I feel like this, so I'm justified. I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't say whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. You don't wrong people. You don't. You also don't wrong yourself. At the end of the day, you have to square it up. You have to acknowledge it. You have to assess your whole entire day and come to a conclusion about each factor, about every voice that returns and comes back and informs you or reminds you of what you did. And you know what you did. You remember what you said. You wrong people every day, whether you know it or not. And you wrong yourself every day, whether you know it or not. And it's time to acknowledge it. And if you have been, it's time to be more sincere about it. Huh? It's not enough to recite positive affirmation about self, to go over your greatness, to proclaim your goodness, to measure all of your perfections, but never acknowledging your shortcomings, your weaknesses, your illnesses, the mischief in you. There's mischief in every one of us. Yes. And you have to acknowledge it. There's a great responsibility that comes along with that. Huh? You may get it right today, and tomorrow you'll be weaker. And then after you may be stronger. And then after that, you may be weaker for a longer period. Who knows? But there's nothing consistent about mastering self. Nothing consistent about it. It's a fluctuation. In and out. Up and down. Huh? This is a training ground. And we're here to get it right. We can't get it right if we fail to acknowledge. If we don't want to acknowledge. If we don't want to be better. We can't get it right. If there's no desire or intention to be just. To be a man or a woman of rectitude. Huh? My attitude has to change. Your attitude has to change. And the actions that follow behind it, it should bear witness to that change. When you sit still at night, at the end of the day, listen. Listen. You're going to hear it. You're going to know exactly what to address. And make sure you address it. Don't ignore it. Don't overlook it. Don't walk past it. Listen. Acknowledge it. Respond. Correct your attitude. Measure it. Put things in the right place. It's worth it. It's a must. It's part of the justice that you owe yourself. And it's a good way to avoid oppressing yourself or oppressing others. And we may get sharper throughout the day. Before we do a thing, we may think it through. We may become more sensitive about how we deal with self and how we deal with others. We can't be the same every day. And we can't expect that the whole world has to apologize while we walk through. We can't expect that everybody else has to change, but I don't. We can't expect that everyone else is wrong, but I'm always right. No. No. And you know better.